alongside FLN Connect, become a Kingdom Advanced leader, and step into one of those curriculums. Even if you're not teaching a group, it's great to listen to while you're driving in the car. 1 minute away. I'm excited for what this last session brings. And remember, Pastor Gary said he's got some giveaways during this last session. We'll see you in just a few seconds. We are starting our final session. We are starting that final session. Go ahead and come in and get seated. Pastor, are you ready? We're ready, sir.
All right. Hey, thanks for, it's a long day. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you online. And I hope it is changing your life. I hope you learned a lot today that helped you. This session is a little different, and we're going to talk about the natural side. You know, it takes both to win in life. You live in the world, right? So you need to understand how things work in the natural, you know, applying spiritual and natural together. So this session's about that, and it's going to be a little different. Ecclesiastes says in 7:12, for wisdom is protection, just as money is protection. Amen to that. I was doing a radio interview one day at WRFD Radio here in Columbus, and they received a call from a caller. It was one of those call-in type shows. And they asked if they could speak with me after the program. So they called back in after the program and they said, would you mind having supper with us tonight? Well, you know, I don't know. I don't know these people, you know. And so let me tell you my story. You know, he said, you know, this is back years ago, but back in the day, they used to send credit cards out in the mail. Not credit card offers. They used to send the card ready to use. Anyone remember that? Actually sent cards out. And he's single, he began to get these $25,000 credit line cards. And this is back early 80s. I mean, that's a lot of money. And like any single, red-blooded thief would do, no, I'm just kidding, he spent it. You know, he was single, and another one would come, and he just, you know, he decided to go to Europe. He went to Europe, traveled around, and found this girl he really fell in love with, told her he was a businessman. And they got married, and he's still living off these credit card offers coming in the mail. When he leave the house, he'd tell her he's going to work, but he wasn't going to work. He's living off this money. And eventually, you know what would happen, right? He ran out of cards, so he began to forge cards. He began to forge his brother's names and began to forge credit card offers. And it wasn't too long, he got the FBI phone call that he, you know, probably expected. And he came back to the States. Now, this time he had a baby. He was married to this girl. And so he went to court, and they found him guilty. And he went to prison for 6 months. And his wife waited for him. He gave his heart to Christ in prison, and she gave her heart to Christ outside the prison. And so he wanted to have dinner with me to tell me his story and talk about debt. Well, I thought that sounded pretty interesting, so I decided to have dinner with him, went by there. I walked in there, and here's this lovely couple with 4 kids. And he sat down, told me his story. And he said he went to, prison and the whole story. And he said, would you do me a favor? He said, when you travel around, when you talk to people, would you tell them, that I destroyed my life with a credit card? Would you warn them, please, of how easy it is to get buried in credit card debt? Would you? And I am. I just did. Told his story. No one plans to self-destruct, friend. No one plans. That's the problem, A lady called and asked me to visit her. She was single. I had, of course, brought, I think, one of my kids with me. And she begins to tell me, I got to get out of debt. I need help, And so I asked her current situation. She had 52 credit cards maxed out. 52 credit cards maxed out. And I said, "Oh, ma'am, you're going to have to stop using credit cards. You know, you got to cut these things up. You don't want to get out of debt. You got to." And she burst into tears. And I'll never forget what she said. "Well, how am I going to buy shoes?" That's what she said. I was thinking, shoes? What about food? You know, I don't know. I was afraid to ask her how many shoes she had. You know, 52 cards worth. I don't know. But it's amazing how people act with debt and how they just accept it. Proverbs chapter 22:7 says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower becomes a slave to the lender." Now, the quickest way to get yourself into slavery is debt. And no one plans. They lie to themselves. "Well, I'll pay that off next month." And friend, you know, everyone has debt they should have, would have, and would have liked to have paid off, never did. And before you know it, you become a slave to the lender. Now, slave, by definition, is someone who is owned by someone else. And they work for someone else through forced labor. And this is what a slave does. A slave works for someone else. They have no options. Although they're laboring, their profit is not kept. They send it off to the owner, and they send it in envelopes to the master. And again, we need to understand that today's slaves take on a different look. You think of slavery. Well, you know, America's enslaved. America's citizens are enslaved. You know, today's slaves, here's what they live in houses they don't own. They drive cars they don't own. They wear clothes they don't own. They bought them on a Visa card. They furnish their homes on debt. They send their kids to school on debt. They buy their groceries on debt, right? Have you ever heard, I said this earlier, have you ever heard someone say, "I have to go to work"? Yeah. Well, as I said earlier, most people hate their jobs, don't want to go to work. They're not in their passion. They're not in their gifting, you know, and they're working just to make money. What a horrible way to live, working just to make money. That's a horrible way to live, friend. You got one life. Don't you want to do something you want to do? Something you have passion for? Instead of just working to make money? That is a horrible way to live. God made you so much higher than that. I'm stepping on people's toes, I know. I can't help it. I got to tell the truth, right? The sad state of slavery in the United States is 57% of people do not have $1,000 in the bank. That's over half the American citizens. If they had to come up with $1,000, they didn't have it. 44% can't write a check for $400. $400, almost half of the citizens cannot write a check for that amount of money. 49.3% in a recent study bring home less than $2,500 a month. That's half our country. Well, the average two-bedroom apartment cost right now, it's gone up almost $1,400 a month. If they're making $2,500 a month take-home pay, there's not much left over. You know, you're living on the edge. Let me say it differently. You're living on the edge of fear, friend. You're nervous every day. You're living in fear every day. You're living, how am I going to buy this? How am I going to buy that? How am I going to get through that? How am I going to do that? I got to watch what I spend. I got to be careful here, right? Man, I'll tell you, we lived like that. Quite frankly, I thought it was hell on earth myself. It wasn't too fun. 73% of people in the U.S. die in debt. 40% of American families spend more every year than they make. 49% of Americans cannot cover 1 month's necessary expenses if they lose their job. Most people live in debt. Household debt, if you read the papers, set a brand new record last fall, $16.5 trillion in household debt in the U.S. Amazing. $1.8 trillion in student debt. Of course, that's been in the news. 70% of graduating students carry student loans. So, friend, we are a nation of debt. We showed a clip, I think, earlier session, and they were all talking about we were $17 trillion in debt. Did you catch that? You remember they're talking about that on CNN? They're behind the times now. That was only a couple, I don't know what year that was. That was only probably not that long ago. 31.5 trillion as I speak right now. Now, 2020, it was only 5.6 trillion. 1980 was 900 billion. The country's 200 years old. Now, would you willingly sign up for slavery? I'll feed you well. I'll take care of you. You work for me, slavery. I get all the profit, but you know, you get food and a house to live in. Otherwise, everything's mine. Sign up right here. How many would do that? I hope none of you will. But slavery as a believer is not your destiny, friend. It is not your promised future, because slaves have no options, you see. Slaves don't have options. The Bible says clearly in Deuteronomy that your future is you will lend to many nations but borrow from none. You'll be the head and not the tail. But you'll never be the head and not the tail without the finances first. Because the finances is the head. Who has the money is making the decisions. Right? But God says you'll have the money. You'll be the lender, not the borrower. The slaves are the tails. They don't have options or make decisions for themselves. They simply follow what the head says. Now, how do we get in this mess? Well, with a little help. A little help. From people that understood how money works. Credit card offers, as you know, come in the mail almost every day. And like our house, you probably get multiple offers of the same card over and over and over again. And you may think, well, how come they keep sending that offer that I didn't accept it the last 10 years in a row, but they keep sending it, right? They're fishing, they're waiting for a moment of weakness or maybe a point offer or a different thing they can inspire you to sign up. Today, credit cards are going up in expense. You know that the rate is now, the average rate is between 19.5% and 29.5% interest on a credit card. It's incredible. They mail out about $5 to $8 billion credit card offers a year. It's a lot of credit card offers. Now, right now, banks are paying, if you had a savings account there, they're paying CDs or savings accounts between 2% and 4.5%. You know, people celebrate getting 4.5%. But the average rate of all the active credit cards in the United States that are open right now is an average rate of 19.07%. That means all the debt on all those credit cards is on an average charging 19.07% interest. Yet the banks are paying 2%. Now the banks are not stupid. They found a way to pay you 2% for your money and then make 19% with it. All right? In the Bible days, they were called money changers. They were despised. It's not true, it's true. Now, if you could invest at 19% interest, $25 a month, if you were 20 years of age until you were 70, your working lifetime, $25 a month would yield you $22 million. That's just $25 a month. Now, at 24%, retail credit cards are at 24% easily, much higher. At 24%, that $25 a month would go up to $48 million. Now, friend, listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. That same $25 a month would earn somebody, if they found a place to invest at 24%, $48 million. $1 a month at 24%. And you know that the retail credit cards are that high or higher. That would be $7.3 million for $1 a month for 50 years over your working lifetime. Now, finance company rates are much higher, 28 to 33%. And if by chance you have the unlucky chance to invest with them, borrow with them at $1 a month, and you can invest that at their rate of 28%, that's $48 million, just $1 a month. You say, well, why do they take so much risk? Don't they have people that don't pay? Yeah, but it's worth it to them. You see, it's worth it to them. See, someone knows how money works, and someone doesn't. I hope you get in the class that does. Retail stores, you've all experienced this. I want to buy this today. You have cash in your hand, lay it on the table. They go, oh, wait a minute. You could have 15% off right now if you take our card. They know statistically that if you take the card, you never pay it off because you use it again and again and again. And for most people, they'll stay in debt with that card for a long time. In fact, it takes about 19 to 20 years to pay a credit card off at 19% if you make the minimum payment. That's a long time. 90 days same as cash? Sounds good to me. 90 days has got to be different than it is now. Yeah. 80% of the people that sign up for that trick never pay it off in the 90 days. Okay, you need longer? What about a year? You ever heard of that? No payments for a year? I can certainly change my life in a year. Same stat. 80% of the people that sign up for that trick never pay it off in that year period. In fact, honestly, most people stay in debt their entire life. Yeah, I said this earlier. Most people just live month to month. Now listen, I think Pastor Trent said this. There is no freedom without financial freedom. Now, I don't want this to be a heavy session for you because we're going to help you win. Now, I've already taught you the spiritual side of things, but we're going to talk about the natural side of things. We know what it's like to be in debt. Trust me, we've lived through that hell on earth. So how do I get free? I'm glad you asked. Well, number one, you have to apply natural wisdom and spiritual laws, and you'll walk out. But you need to understand someone wants your money. Someone wants your money. The system is not geared for you to win. I mean, is the banker going to tell you how to pay the debt off? Is the IRS going to tell you how to save on taxes? I mean, the whole system is a marketing system to take your money. You have to be as wise as they are. So I said earlier today that the average family, when Brenda and I were seriously in debt, God showed us that the average family could be out of debt in less than 7 years, including their mortgage, without changing their income. I never heard that before. No one's telling me that. Who's telling you that? No one. Well, where do you start at? Well, first you have to decide. You must decide you want to get out of debt. Now, you'll kid yourself. You'll lie to yourself. It's like losing weight. Well, I want to lose weight. You like the sound of it, but you don't want to pay the price of it. We made a decision to get out of debt. You got to cut the cards up, friend. Go to a debit card or whatever, but you know, if you can't be trusted with it, and most people can't. God said there's a better way. You can be debt free. Now, most people think of getting out of debt as drudgery and doing without, suffering. But I want to do a little experiment. Under 5 chairs in this auditorium, there is a silver ounce coin worth about $30. So you can see if your chair has it under there. I need to see 5 people stand up and say, I found one. I don't see anyone. What are y'all getting up for? No one found any yet? They are there, right, Holly? Anyone find one? You got to stand up and show me. Anyone? Where? Okay, well, I just got one over there. Hold on. There's one here. 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th one at? Okay, let me count them again. Just hold your hand up if you got one of them. 1, 2, 3. Wasn't there one over here? 4. Well, there's still one out there, guys. You found one? Okay, Holly, where's it at? It's back in that area. Huh? Adrian found it. No. Oh, she hid them. Adrian, where's the area that the last one's at? Over here. She's going to look under your seat. Wow. Found it? Yes? Found number 5. Okay. There you go. All right. Now let me ask you a question. Was that a hard thing to do? Was that like drudgery to look under your chair? I didn't tell you to get, y'all just jumped up. Like just jumped up. Now you'd have to admit that's kind of fun. It's like a treasure hunt, right? Getting out of debt is the same way. Getting out of debt's the same way. It can be fun. It can be fun. So finding money's fun. Now I said you get out of debt in 5 to 7 years, including your mortgage, means you got to find some money. And you begin to find it. Trust me, it's fun. All right. Let's dig into this process. And number 1, you got to have a cash reserve. 101. Tire goes out, washing machine, you got to have a cash reserve to protect yourself from using debt. Your credit card cannot be your backup plan. You got to have cash. First thing you want to do is get a cash reserve. The best place for that is to look in your basement and garage. Sell some stuff sitting down there that's all covered in dust. Sell the unused RV, sell the whatever. You find stuff, get rid of some things, and let that become your cash reserve. Get that started, okay? That's the first thing you want to do is have that cash reserve built. So I know people are going to say, well, I don't have any money at all. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. I guarantee you have some. And let's just try right now. Who has a phone with them? Okay, everyone go to missingmoney.com. Everyone right now. on your phone. If you have a phone, go to missing. I think our system can handle that many people. I think so. Missingmoney.com. We just upgraded it. It should be able to. Missingmoney.com. It'll ask you for your name and state. And as soon as if anyone finds money, I'll give you a second here. What? You found it? You just found $100. Aaron, you work here. You read all my books. What's going on, buddy? There's $100 there. Well, I have to admit, I found 2 yesterday for myself. Because you just check, because they keep going on there. So I submitted 2 requests for that money yesterday on my name. Okay, if you find money, stand up. I want to see how many are finding money right now. Yes, young ladies there. Who else found money? And now over here, who else found money? Come on. Found money, found money, found money. Put your name in there. See, found money over here. Found money here, found money here. Found money back there, found money here. Found money. Wow. Really? Praise God, it helped me pay for that Paris trip. It'll have an arrow, greater or less than. It won't tell you the amount. All right.
25 to 50, 25 to 100, 5 to 50, 100.
Oh my goodness. Okay, who else has found money? There you go. Hands up, hands up. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Yeah. Keep going. Everyone done? Everyone finished with that assignment? Money, money. All right, if you found money, stand up. The rest of you work on it at home. Put your phones down now. Now look at that. Look at that in this room, and I'm sure some of you are still searching. You may have lived in another state or something. It'll search all the states for you. All right, sit down. So you found some money. Was that fun? All right. Put your phones down. Do it later. Got stuff to talk about. Now, that same process in your own state works for property taxes. You go to your own state and look for lost money. But I was digging through this, and I found my dad had $3,500 in overpaid property taxes. I got it back for him. And a whole list of people had property taxes overpaid. And so I did an experiment. I sent out a certified letter I looked up people that had a lot of money, overpayment, and got their addresses and mailed them a certified letter stating that you have money, overpaid property taxes. We'd like to help you identify and get that. Now, it's just, no one called us back. So I mailed it again, certified with a return card. Only one card came back. We got her $700. And I was thinking, this is crazy. They have this money. We're trying to get it to them, and they wouldn't take it, wouldn't check it out, right? Anyway, it's a treasure chest. It's fun to find money. Now, guess where the largest area of your cash is at? The IRS. IRS. How many love to talk to the IRS? No, that's why you have all that money over there, because you don't want to deal with it. But who knows what Tax Freedom Day is? Tax Freedom Day is the day in the year that up until that point, every single penny you make goes to pay your annual taxes. Now this year, for 23, it's April 18th. That means you're going to work 3.5 months. I mean, everything you make goes to taxes, 3.5 months. It is the biggest expense you have. And it's the most confusing area that you deal with. But to give you an example how high taxes are in California, friends, you know the top tax bracket is 37%. In California, the top state bracket is 13.3%. Then you have Social Security, 15.3%. Now, it doesn't take long to start adding that stuff up. Taxes. The tax code is 74,608 pages long. What do you think the chances are of every tax preparer understanding all of that? Not good. In fact, Money Magazine did a study, and I've covered this before, but it's amazing to me. They did a study where they took one person's family's data and sent it to 50 tax preparers. Do we have that graph, Sarah? Can we put that up there? Do you have it? Yeah. And so here's the difference. These are different years. The difference in the amount owed. All right, you'll see for instance, let's look at down the graph there. 31,000 versus 74,000, same data. You see that on the left is what, they're all two different numbers of the CPAs. You follow me? Taxes owed on the left. No one had the same answer. The answer ranged from the number on the left over here to the number on the right. Now, which CPA do you want to use? Well, the bottom line is Money Magazine said that every family is probably spending 20% more on taxes than they need to. So what's the answer? If I was, how many like sales? Clothing on sale, shoes, whatever on sale. You'll drive across town to save a couple $100. Well, you should have a second opinion on taxes. It's not a couple $100. It's a couple $1,000, right? Or thousands of dollars that you would consider you need to check it out because you're losing money there. Money Magazine gave 10 questions to 50 CPAs, and no one got them all right. I know, I hope this wasn't being an encouraging session for you, but Anyway, I don't have time to cover all the tax breaks you can have, but I do recommend there's Dan Pilla, you may know, we work with him. He has a great book on small business that can help you if you're in business to learn how to structure your business to save a lot of money. But one thing, the mileage, there's just tons of stuff you can write off that people don't know about. For instance, if you're volunteering at church, you can write it off. Do you know that? If you're volunteering at church, you can write the mileage off? Yeah? How many do that? Yeah, a few of you. I think Dream Teamers here. Dream Team. This young lady over here, right there on the seat edge. You're right there. Come on up here. So how often do you come to church here and volunteer? 6 times a month. Well, that's pretty good. Give or take. So how far away do you live from here? Newark, is that maybe 25, 20 miles, something like that? Well, let's just round it up to 30 because I got an illustration I want to use. Let's say it's 30. And let's say you come once a week, 4 times a month, you're coming 6. Now, I need to get your name too, by the way. I have a pen. What's your name? It's on your tag there. I'm sorry, I don't know you personally. Renee. Okay, Renee. Oops. Can you pick that up? Now, Renee, you pick that up. Now, I'll put your name on it. Would you pick it up? You would? You sure? See, if you drove 4 times a month here, keeping track of your mileage at the current volunteer pay, you'd have a check for $131 into the year. You say, well, that's not worth picking up. Yeah, you just picked one up. There it is. You can have that. Now, that is a very, very, very small illustration that if you're aware of the facts, fragments add up. Fragments add up. So back taxes, again, work with Dan Pilla, his office, he can help you with all kinds of things. Pure Talk is not the cheapest cell phone coverage. Pure Talk, hear it on the radio everywhere, right? TV, Pure Talk, it's not the cheapest. It's not the cheapest. Friend, you got to shop. You got to check prices out. I'm not going to tell you which is the cheapest because it may change by tomorrow. But the point is, you need to shop. Another area of loss, I'm just covering a few things. I'm just giving you a flavor of treasure hunting, okay? And how many like paying for insurance? Come on, what's the deal? I don't see a hand in here. How many have read your insurance policy all the way through? When you open it up, the plastic stuck because it's been not open for 20 years or something? Yeah. Wow. Do you know the average person shops for car insurance every 16 years? And 35% of them keep the same coverage they had when they first started driving. Wow. But there are 2,496 property casualty companies. How many of those can you name? Probably only the few that advertise big money. Yep. Hundreds of dollars in savings just for looking. And let me give you a hint, the Lizard's not the cheapest. Now, most states provide a list of the companies that are licensed in their states. Some states even they have to file their rates with the state. I know friends like Texas files you can go to their website and see all the rates. They compare them for you, every company. Some states have all those rates listed. It's all right there on paper, who has the cheapest rates, and their phone number and addresses. You can go there and shop. But anyway, you need to find the answer. What you don't understand is big money for someone, okay, when you get that. For instance, in insurance, set high deductibles. It makes it cheaper. How about paying annually? Do you know if you pay your insurance premium annually, you'll save about 8% in premium? Yep, absolutely. How about life insurance? People love that, right? No, I don't think so. But let me give you an example. If you were married, had kids, and you make $100,000 a year, you would probably need about $2.5 million of life insurance coverage. Because of today's prices, you would need, because to take care of that family for a period of time, you would need that kind of money. But you know, what happens is you look out there, most families have about $500,000, $200,000. Why is that? Because they can't afford any more, because they've been sold expensive policies. See, term insurance is inexpensive. Term insurance is just pure death insurance. When you're young with a family, that's what you have to have. You got to have high coverage. And of course, we're not bleeding for anything to happen to you. But the bottom line is, you know, I just checked myself. Now I'm older. But if I was going to buy a $500,000 life policy, that's the expensive kind that builds up cash, it'd be about $2,700 a month. But I could buy $1 million of death coverage for $370 a month. So I'm just giving you an idea that, you know, you need to shop and you need to consider how these things work. Amen. Amen. Let's keep moving through a couple of these ideas. If you don't like your life insurance policy, don't cancel it. People buy them. It's called a life settlement. They'll pay you money for it. Yeah, that's right. They'll pay you money for your life insurance policy. Amen. Never buy credit life or disability insurance on a loan. You know, your banker will say, if you're borrowing money for a car, they'll say, do you want disability on this, or do you want it to be credit life? If something happens to you, it pays it off. Never do that. They put that in the loan itself. It becomes part of the debt, which means you're paying interest plus the premium for it. And you can buy life insurance or disability cheaper by yourself outside of that protection. How about health insurance? Expensive stuff, right? Now, there's all kind of options, but just as a thought, there's MediShare, family, about $500 a month compared to what most people pay, $1,000 something a month. Check these things out. Now, another thing, houses have appreciated over the last few years quite a bit. And that means your PMI insurance should fall off. Now, remember, PMI insurance is your private mortgage insurance protection. It doesn't protect you. Don't be misled. It protects the mortgage lender. It means if your house depreciates below what you owe on it, it'll make up the difference if you foreclose on it. But it's usually about $100 a month. But see, the houses have appreciated. So now, if you have more equity in the house than 20%, you can drop that PMI. It's about $100 a month saving. You check it out. And let's talk about debt. You can consolidate that. I think everyone knows that. Again, I'm just bouncing around here. I'm trying to give you the thought, wait a minute, there's money here, money there, money there, money here, and everywhere there's money. I just got to find it. You can consolidate, cheaper interest rate. You can borrow from your 401k. You can borrow up to 50% of your 401k, and then interest goes back to you. It's a 5-year payment. Well, I didn't know that, Gary. I know that. That's why people need to know these things, right? And you could just say you temporarily stop your 401k. Well, Pastor, my employer, he matches me 6%. Well, so what? I guarantee, even if you lose the 6%, it's going to be cheaper than that 23% interest on that credit card. You can come back into it. Let's get the credit card paid off, right? Anyway, so how many heard the Feds raised interest rates again? Today's headlines, you saw the job report, right? Jobs are lowest unemployment, and I don't have it since 60-something. And so that's not good news for the economy in the sense it's good news for people, but they're concerned about that because it's putting pressure on people buying, meaning they need more employees and pushing prices up. And so they decide they're probably going to have to raise rates 2 or 3 more times this year. Now, you know, how's that work, right? We got people out there with retirement accounts and different investments that's going to be affected by that. Your mortgage rates are affected, credit card rates are affected. And so, 2001, I've been in business 40 years in the financial field. And 2001, you might remember that everything crashed. Now I have sold mutual funds for 20 years, and we had money in the markets, of course. And 2001 hit, and I saw my clients' values drop 50 to 80%. And I said, this isn't for me. Not as a believer. I'm not going to be responsible. I can't look my friend in the eye down the road and say, I'm sorry, I lost half your money. I just said, we're not doing that. There's got to be another way to do this. And so we spent that year looking for options. And we found different options that would protect a client's principal and yet give them a return. And that's all we chose to do. We don't like, no one's ever lost a penny with, again, I'm talking in terms of our company, what it does. And so we don't like playing with people's money. So they don't lose money. They're not a penny, and they've never lost a penny. We've invested millions, over 100 some million, maybe closer. I don't know how high it is now. But no one's lost a penny, and they can sleep at night. And so we like that. I like that anyway. So people ask me about gold and silver. Well, yeah, I'd say yes. Very simply, yeah, own some. But make sure it's physical gold you have in your hand. And you can buy it. We handle advertisements every day on TV. You can see people sell it. But you should own, we always say, maybe 5%, maybe maximum 10% of your assets in gold and silver. It's an insurance policy. If the dollar blows up, the gold and silver goes up. Make sense? It's an insurance policy against our currency, which is nothing but thin air. It's nothing but thin air, friend. And so you need to be diversified. You need to diversify your assets. And so things change, that you're going to be all right. And so I want you to know that. Now, we have offered, and we have been doing this for 40 years, we offer people a free, we call get out of debt plan that will help you identify loss areas with your data on it. It's done free of charge, and we'll show you how to be debt free in 5 to 7 years, including your mortgage. We've done it for years. God showed us how to do that back when we were just starting to learn the kingdom. And we've done, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people with that plan. It's absolutely free, and we offered it when you signed up for this. We said, if you'd like to have that done, to mark the form. But I wanted to just take a moment and discuss that with you because, a multitude of counselors, there's wisdom. If we show you the plan, you choose, but it's another option. It's going to offer you ideas to think about in this climate. It's going to help you kind of navigate and start the process of sitting down and evaluating where you're headed. And, people say, that's like getting a root canal. I don't want to face my bills, I don't want to get my bill drawer out. I don't want to look how much debt I have, Well, friend, I'm telling you, it's better now than later. We want to, now again, let's not lose sight of our spiritual covenant here. All right? We're going to win this thing. We're going to win this thing. But it's going to take some knowledge on both ends to get it done faster. So all we're saying is that knowledge doesn't hurt. And that we suggest, even those online, we offer that QR code, that if you'd like a free plan, our money coaches will reach out to you and produce that for you and send it to you. And you here, I think Steve mentioned that possibly. You can sign up by the QR code. But first, let me show you what we do in the plan. If you can put this plan up, I'll just run through it really, really quick. So let's go on through the next page. And, most people live paycheck to paycheck. Do you know that? How many knew that? How many didn't know that? Yeah, everyone knows that. Most people in America live paycheck to paycheck. Now, if I told this couple they could be out of debt in 5 to 7 years, including their mortgage and car payments and other debt credit cards, without changing their income, what would they say? They'd say, there's no way. Yeah, but they can. It just takes some knowledge. Let's go to the next slide here. So what we found, we go, okay, what are you spending money on? Let's list all of it. And then we go, is there a cheaper way to do that? Is there a less expensive company that does that? Is there a better way to accomplish that task, right? You follow me? And we do that, and we come back with this list. And we say, okay, look, I know it's really bad. You think it's impossible. But you know what we found? We found $1,700 in your budget. A month. We have a whole list of things we look at, and there's things we look at that aren't listed there, but this is one client, Now, how many know they like that? They like that. They like that. It's like finding a coin under your chair. All right. Now, if we take that money that's been now we haven't touched anything, the groceries and all that. We take that money and let's throw it into the debt. The next slide. Let's throw that into the. This is so self-employed people have a lot more areas to lose money in. So we have, it's paying for trucks and all that, right, Keith? So we have a list of other surveys we look at in helping business people avoid losses. Let's go to the next one. So we establish, first of all, the cash reserve. We're going to make sure that's intact. That's the first thing we look at. You look at. Next slide. And then we look at the debts. This is kind of go through that, the next page. So what we're doing is we're taking the money we freed up and adding it to the payment that you're making on that debt. So it's going to accelerate the payoff. And we find here that the mortgage acceleration with the money we found, their house is paid off in 6.2 years. All of the debt. And now they have money to save for the future. You'll see the bottom of the page there. That money's now allocated to retirement accounts or other things. They're out of debt at age 46. Let's move on. Is there another page? Oh, that just shows if we add the business to it, it goes a lot faster. That's good enough. Yeah, I'm investing. That's fine. That's good. You get the idea. So, yes, ma'am?
Should invest it though, what happens?
Well, yeah, you can see it grows if you invest the money over time. And most people retire with no retirement account. So if you have that debt erased, you all of a sudden have an opportunity to retire with cash. Right? Okay. Now, we do this in churches. We do this all across the country. We did one church a couple years ago. Of course, COVID kind of slowed us down. But we did, I think it's about 200 families in that church. And we found the end result was that we freed up $176,000 a month in that church from all the families. And as the debts they had were currently amortized by paying them off, it would have saved them $26 million in interest. Now let's talk about that. That money is money that you earned. And it's being sent in envelopes to the lender. And that money needs to be in your family's hand and in the kingdom's hand. And so that's why we're passionate about the natural side. Because most people don't think they can get out of debt. They've accepted this idea that I'm going to be in debt forever. No, absolutely not. That's not your future. You're going to be the lender, not the borrower. You're living debt-free, man. You say, well, I don't know how. That's okay. God does. He'll help you. And so that's available to you. I think there's a QR code. Do we have that QR code? We put that on the screen for them for a second. Right there. If you just take a snapshot of that with your phone, it'll take you straight to a form where you can just tell us you'd like to talk to someone in our office. But we've launched out this year. Again, COVID slowed us down, but we've done this in hundreds of churches. And we really come behind the pastor's vision. We want the pastor is the head of that church. He has a vision for that church being in that community. And money is what usually hog ties the vision. So we come in there and help them understand, look, you got the money. Let's just find the money and get your vision going here. And so that's what we do. And so, we love doing that. And teaching the kingdom together with the practical side is really my passion to get that done. But it's exciting to find money. It's exciting to win in life. It's exciting to see the kingdom show up. Amen. Stand with me today. We're going to dismiss. It's been a good day, good weekend, right, Aaron? We have a song? Oh, Amy's going to close with a song. Good, I like that. That's a good idea. All right, Pastor Amy. She's back there, right? She's coming out. Okay. Do you want to pray first? No, we'll wait till after she gets done singing.